Kia ora and welcome back to another RISE2025 interview with another amazing wahine and woman from New Zealand. And as you know, we are interviewing men and women all over the world, finding out what they are doing in their industry, working on business, and really getting some inspiration from some very cool people. So today, I'm really, really delighted to welcome Lisa King. Kia ora, Lisa.
Hi, Rachel.
How are you?
Thank you.
Good. In the middle of the school holidays here in Auckland, how's it all panning out for you?
School holidays is a good time for our team to kind of just re-energize. So it's a little bit quieter because we're not doing the lunches for the kids, although we're still making lunches for our customers. But it just gives us a little bit of downtime before the madness starts again in a couple of weeks.
Wow. Yes, I can imagine. So we're going to talk a bit about that today, but also a bit about your story. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this with our audience. And so how I met Lisa is earlier this year, we all had the privilege really of being in Canterbury and Christchurch at Inspire Canterbury. And Lisa was one of the awesome speakers of that conference, and I was emceeing. So from there, we've sort of caught up at a few things like the Women of Influence Awards. Lisa won the Community Award this year, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And last year, the Business Enterprise Award. So, you know, it says a lot about you, but it also says a lot about where Eat My Lunch is going. So, Lisa, I have a question about your start of the day. So, what inspires you every morning to get up at 2 a.m. to do what you do every day?
Yeah, well, fortunately for me now, I have a really great team, so I don't have to get up so early. They start at about 4, and it works well because I'm just not a morning person. But I still get up pretty early, and look, for me, it's, you know, knowing that I get to make a difference every single day. And I think, you know, the fact that we're feeding these kids that rely on our lunches, there's a sense of, you know, there's no way we can let them down, and there's no way I can let them down. And, you know, we've asked this incredible team of people, all our volunteers and supporters, to kind of get in behind us. And so, you know, it's waking up every morning knowing that we've got all these amazing people there ready to, you know, all help us achieve this mission and help feed the kids. That kind of gets me going.
Yeah. And so I know that a lot of people know about Eat My Lunch, but it'd be great for you to just really explain the purpose and the vision behind Eat My Lunch, and why is it so important for you that we continue to feed the children that go to school every day without lunch? What's the importance for you in starting this?
Yeah, so Eat My Lunch started just over 2 years ago, and for me, you know, I was working in the corporate world, marketing big household food brands. And it came to my attention that there were all these kids in New Zealand going to school with no food. And, you know, I'm a mum of 2 young kids, and I just really couldn't get my head around the fact that there were kids in our country that were going to school with nothing. And it just wasn't right. And I just really felt compelled to do something about it. And, you know, we know that kids can't learn on an empty stomach, you know, that it can't focus or concentrate in class. And for these kids, particularly from those backgrounds, you know, when kids are living in poverty, they often stay that way for many years. And the only way for them to come out of that is through education. And so the model of Eat My Lunch is that we are essentially a lunch delivery service. So people order our lunches online. They're really fresh and healthy, and they're delivered to their workplace. And for every lunch someone buys, a lunch is also given to a Kiwi kid who would otherwise go without.
Yes.
And, you know, our mission really is we estimate there's around 25,000 kids every day in New Zealand going to school with no food, which is such a huge figure for a small country and a prosperous country like ours. And I think, you know, for us, the ultimate would be to get to 25,000 of those kids in New Zealand. At the moment, we're feeding 1,700 a day.
Yeah.
So we've still got a long way to go. But, we understand the difference that we're making for these 1,700 kids every day. And I think, that the purpose of making sure that these kids are going to school well fed so that they can learn is kind of what's galvanized, I think, a lot of the New Zealand public and the community around us to kind of help us get there.
Yeah. And so you've delivered your 500,000th lunch in August of this year.
Yeah.
And how does that feel?
It's such it's a really big number, based on our buy one, give one model. That means people have bought 500 lunches in order for us to give, 500,000, so we've made over 1 million lunches in total in 2 years. So it was definitely a huge milestone for the business, and it's really amazing to see that there are so many Kiwis who actually want to participate and help us. And it's because of our customers and people who've bought the lunches that we've been able to give. So, we've definitely haven't been able to do this on our own. It's actually about everyone coming together. So it was a really great feeling to kind of reach that milestone. And for us now, it's, we did 500,000 give lunches in 2 years. How do we get, to 1 million in the next year and really kind of get to our goal?
Great. And, just to be clear, Eat My Lunch is actually a social enterprise business. It's not set up as a charity. And Lisa, do you want to explain why that's so important?
I think particularly coming from a corporate and commercial background, I really wanted to use my skills in that area to create a model that's sustainable and also scalable. And, I didn't want to have to rely on donations or funding or grants, because when that stops, that means all the good work has to stop. And I didn't want to channel resources into, applications and paperwork and administration, because we actually really want to get out there and make an impact. Yeah. And so we kind of knew from the start we needed, a model that was self-sustaining, so commercially proven and successful, which Eat My Lunch is. That's completely driven by a social purpose, because the more we do well as a commercial entity, it means the more good that we can do at the same time.
Absolutely. And I know, people that I speak to have volunteered for Eat My Lunch. Everyone speaks so highly of the team environment, the team spirit that you have created, or your team have created. So, I really I take my hat off to you and your team for creating that culture, and it's a culture that you've created. And now you've launched Eat My Dinner.
Yeah, we just launched Eat My Dinner 2 weeks ago. So I think, for us, it was a natural progression from lunch into the dinner meal occasion. And again, for us, it's about how to get more and more people to participate and fund, these lunches for these kids. And we were just delivering to workplaces, and, we had a lot of people asking, can you deliver to our home? And so dinner is actually, a ready to heat and eat fresh and healthy meal that's delivered to people's homes. And again, every dinner that's purchased funds a lunch for a kid. So yeah, it's early stages yet, but we're getting some really great support, lots and lots of interest. And so we hope to be kind of expanding that offering out to all of Auckland and Wellington soon.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'll have to try the Eat My Dinner. I'll let you know. I'll give you my feedback.
Great.
And so with being a mum and a woman in business, what have been your most, and there are a lot of women that I meet who are starting up business, what has been the most challenging thing for you?
Yeah, I think like any, for most women who, have is working or runs a business and have children, and it's that balance. Yeah. And I think particularly starting your own business, it is all consuming, particularly in those early stages. And it doesn't switch off just because you come home, and you're lying there in bed thinking about it all the time. And I think so it's really that balance, particularly with the kids, and also trying to find time just for myself, which is really important, and that hasn't come easy, particularly in the early stages, when you're just starting up and you're getting the business to a point where you can hire people to help you with that. So that's been really difficult. And I took my first holiday in 2.5 years this year, so which was well overdue. And also for me, I think one of the challenges that I've faced kind of throughout my whole corporate career, and even now, is that people are really surprised that I'm the founder of Eat My Lunch. So I was at a breakfast yesterday, and people are like, "Oh, so what do you do there?" And I get that all the time, and I think previously I found that quite challenging, but now I actually really enjoy it, that people kind of underestimate me.
Yes.
And I can say, well, actually, I run the business, and so there's definitely the challenges of perception as well.
Yes. And so if those are the challenges, what's the most rewarding thing about being the founder of something that's really taking off, and has a social conscience and a social responsibility that New Zealanders are buying into, corporates are buying into? What's the most rewarding thing for you?
Well, for me, the reason why I decided to leave my corporate career, and it was a big risk to do that, and a lot of it was driven by my children, and I wanted to do something that they were going to be proud of. And kind of probably the defining moment for me was hearing my two kids, Ella and Toby, having a conversation. And Toby said, "Oh, when Mum dies, I'm going to run Eat My Lunch." And and Ella was like, "No, I'm going to run Eat My Lunch." So they're having this argument about who's going to own it and run it when I'm not here. So it's something that they're really proud of as well, and it gives me a lot of pride, and also just being able to prove to myself that I was able to do something like this, stepping outside of this kind of paved out corporate career that I had known for the last 15 years.
Yeah, great. And I know that both your children have been part of the setup of the business. I think you used to run it in your kitchen, is that right?
Yeah, so they've been they've seen it growing from this kind of inception to now what it is. And we used to run it from our home. And so they would wake up in the mornings, and there'd be all these strangers in the house, and they'd just wander in their pajamas and kind of get in amongst it. And it's been really great. It's exposed them to a lot, and they're understanding that not all kids have what they have, and that there are all these people who want to do good and help out. And particularly for my little boy Toby, he really loves cooking. So having that interaction with Michael Meredith, who's the chef that we work with as well, has been great for him.
Yeah, wonderful. And it's inspiring to hear children talking about business and running a business, because Mum did it, so I can do it.
Yeah, and I think when it's different when they just see Mum or Dad go off to the office and they don't really understand what they're doing, or we say we're going to be in a meeting, they don't see what it is we actually do. And I think with this being in the home, and they still come to Eat My Lunch in the mornings, they can see how it actually runs, and the impact that it has.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, Lisa, we're really talking to our women and our girls through these interviews. And so, with our young girls growing up today, there's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of pressure around image and what you need to look like, who you need to be. what words of inspiration would you share with our younger women who are growing up with social media and all of these pressures? What would you, what is your inspiring advice that you'd give our young women today?
I think, we're all kind of taught and brought up to fit in, and to not stand out. And, I strongly encourage, particularly young women today to just actually stand out and focus on yourself. No one else's opinion about you matters more than your own. And, practice self-compassion and kindness. And I think it really starts internally with yourself.
Yes, great. Yeah. Great. And have you felt like you've fitted in your life?
It's no, my parents brought my sisters and I here when I was 2. And when we came, there weren't a lot of immigrants. And so, from the very beginning, we always stood out. And, we were very Asian at home. So, our culture and the way we ate and the language that we spoke. But then, outside of our family home, we were a Kiwi.
Yes.
So it's always been this conflict, for me personally, growing up. And when I was younger, I saw it as a disadvantage. And as I kind of grew older, I actually learnt that it was a massive advantage for me to have experience of those two cultures and to be able to bring different perspectives and knowledge, from different parts of the world and how people think. And so I've really tried to use that throughout my career. And I think now, particularly also with Eat My Lunch, it's really helped, bring a lot of people from different backgrounds and bring that diversity of thinking into the business and being able to embrace that in a way that I'd say a lot of businesses can't.
Yeah. Great. So diversity is unique and it's to be celebrated.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. And so as we start businesses as women, as you and I know, what would be your single biggest piece of advice for women starting business?
Oh, gosh. I think just be courageous. Take the risk. It does take so much courage. And I think we often put things off and we kind of go, we need to wait for the perfect time and we need to wait when the family's all fine and, when it's the right time for me or when I've got myself to the right level of skills. I think just do it. We don't have time. And I think, that's a mistake everyone makes, thinking that we've got lots of time on our hands. And I think, just take the risk. Just try it. And you never know what's actually going to happen.
Yes. Give it a go. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great. And so behind the scenes, you've got a team, you've got people that are supporting you. Who is someone that you'd like to acknowledge today who maybe you haven't had the chance to, or I'm sure you're always, and I hear you always acknowledge your team, but is there someone today that you'd really like to acknowledge and recognize for their support throughout this journey that you've been on?
Yeah, actually, there's a few, and I think it's one of the key things, particularly about starting your own business and as a woman going into that, is to surround yourself with people who absolutely have your back. And for me, I've been really fortunate. I've got girlfriends that we've known each other since we were at school. And they're the ones that will call me up and, just confirm and tell me what a great job I've been doing, or, just give me the affirmation, and particularly in the times when things aren't going that well. They always have my back, and they know who they are, and they'll just call, particularly, it's like they know when I need them the most. And some of them don't even live in New Zealand, then they live overseas, and they'll just happen to call at the right time and just kind of give me that boost in self-confidence that I need. And I think it's so important because we often can get quite down on ourselves very quickly. So having those kind of, it's a small group of a few friends who are just always there no matter what happens.
And I totally agree with you. And sometimes we just need to hear their voices, or just know that they're there when things, as you know, in business don't go exactly how we want them to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. And so, Lisa, I really admire your tenacity and resilience in a very commercially driven marketplace where there's so much competition out there. But I think what I've seen is you've carved out this niche, and actually you've grown a social enterprise that is encouraging other social enterprises around your type of model, where it's a win-win.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. But the essence is about the why you do it. And so would you agree with that? Understanding your why is so important.
Absolutely. I think, none of the commercial success would have come without a really strong sense of purpose. And, we know people buy into Eat My Lunch not because of the great food, or that it's designed by Michael Meredith. It's because of our why and, this purpose and this mission that we're on. And, so I think, often people think profit is separate from doing good. And what we've been able to show is that when you start out with a strong purpose and the sense of, social good, everything else follows. Yeah.
Great advice. And I'm so glad you finished off with that, because I think that is ultimately, the work that I'm doing with Indigenous women globally. It's all about, what's your why?
Yeah.
What's your why? Because once we understand our purpose and it's aligned to our core values, then we can build a business around anything. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
So thank you for reconfirming that as well. I'm really excited to see how Eat My Dinner unfolds, but also I'm sure, I just got this feeling that there's going to be so much more.
Yeah, we've got a lot of plans. Always keeping ourselves busy. And, again, it just goes back to how we're going to get to those 25,000 kids.
Yeah.
And, everything we do is geared towards that.
Exactly. And so is there anything that we can do for you? How can we support and continue to support Eat My Lunch and Eat My Dinner?
I just encourage everyone to, we often come across people and say, they'll tell me, I love Eat My Lunch, I love the idea of it, I just haven't got around to signing up. And, it's that taking action piece. And really love everyone to, actually just jump online, sign up. It's super easy. And just get involved, even in a little way.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, I feel really privileged to have some of your time today. I look forward to reconnecting and keeping you updated with the stuff that we're doing as well, because I think there's some alignment there. And let's continue to do good in the world.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Lisa.